there's one thing that gets in most photographers' way, it's probably our hard-headedness and our stubbornness. But see, that doesn't need to be the only way to move forward as photographers. I know we all got into this job to not have any rules and to not follow any blueprint, but if you take these little steps into consideration, I think you'll be much better as a photographer and probably end up with a bit more money in your pocket. So let's get into it. Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is Sergio and I'm a commercial photographer here in Victoria, BC. I've been shooting a little over 10 years now, but I've definitely not been as organized as I am today. There's one thing that I've always had is maybe my work ethic and my drive, but that doesn't equate to being smart or being useful with your time. In this video, I want to go over a few of the things that I do that help me really be on top of things and make sure that I have a stable career as a full-time photographer. Number one for that really is to just find yourself a routine. If there's one thing that we do as photographers is take pictures, and we have to do it over and over and over again. So I think if you are doing things that you don't enjoy doing, it's not going to translate towards having a long full-time career. What you need to be really focusing on is that ability to take pictures, sure, but also grow yourself as a human being, because that is who's taking the pictures. Your pictures are only as good as you are as a person, so the better you can focus on yourself and focus on the things that make you happy as a person, the more you'll progress as a photographer. The act of being a photographer is just a reflection of who we are on the inside. The best photographers are the ones that are the most comfortable with who they are on the inside. And sure, there's maybe a little bit of a facade that you might want to put on for the first few months, the first few years. Then there's a little bit of a fake it till you make it type of mentality. But this idea that thinking of the future, thinking of, a year, 2, 5, 10 years down the line is going to make your current situation, your current week, your current month, a lot less of a headache or of a insurmountable mountain, let's say. If you can find something that fits a workflow for you so that you know you can be productive, but also have some time to bounce back and to get back into the flow of things and being a regular human being and taking care of yourself and taking a shower and going to skateboard, going to gym, go to do whatever the things that you got to do, but take that time off. What a routine can do for you is give you order and give you consistency and show you that Rome isn't built in a day, so to speak, but this career that we're growing isn't built in a day. You need to just put that work in over time and not try to expect that you're going to get all those results just because you did this one big shoot and you're like, oh, well, now that I did this, everyone's going to love me. Everyone's going to want to work with me. It takes time, and it takes this routine of just like putting it in, putting the work in, putting the work in. And it's not just all work, but I do mean if you zoom out and look at the pictures that you've taken over the last year, let's say. Well, you didn't take all of those pictures in one day. You didn't get all of that success in a single day. But the more you do it, the longer you've been doing it for, the more you can look back and be like, oh yeah, that was great. Oh yeah, that was great. Oh yeah, that was great. And now you can create like a big, nice body of work that keeps growing on itself, that keeps getting better. That's what I mean about finding a routine. It's finding that this shtick that you can just do over and over again so that you can look back at 5 years, 10 years and be like, oh, you know what? Maybe I have done a bit of progress. Maybe I have gotten a little bit better. And that's how you'll notice that, oh my goodness, all right, now it's true. I guess between jobs, it feels like it's slow. But if I look back, I've had more jobs in this last month than I did last year in this last month, or, things like that, where you can start to see a bit of a, you're not going to see results next month. You're not going to see results next week. Maybe in photography, if you learn a new flash technique or you learn some new exposuring technique or whatever it is, yeah, sure, you can progress and you can take that directly to your next shoot. And it's nice to be able to build on those blocks and just have something that, you're better than you were last week because you know something new. But with routine and with having this scheduled creativity in our life, you can take these micro steps that you might not be seeing in the moment, but when you look back, you'll be like, man, I really did climb this whole mountain, but the steps were a third of the size of what I was expecting them to be. That's what I mean by having this routine and having this structure in your creativity. This one's maybe a little bit silly, but if you have the luxury to do so, I can't recommend enough to get yourself a dog. Get yourself someone that just takes you out of your headspace just for 20 minutes every couple hours just to go give it a walk. If you look at your walks with your dog, or if you look at your, your routine with your dog that they need to survive, and you use that as time off from work or as time towards thinking about work instead of just actually doing the work, or even just thinking about something completely different so that you can go back and attack the work with a fresh mind, that's going to do you better. You're not taking time away from work in order to go walk your dog for an hour. It's the opposite. You're taking a little bit of a break so that you can actually work properly for that next hour. I think there's a lot more benefits in taking time off than there is in just working constantly. And I know that sounds a little bit crazy for the people that know me, that know I'm a huge workaholic, and I always have been. But when I look back at my career has always done best, has always flourished when I focus on the things that have nothing to do with photography. And sure, that may be building on a little bit of a foundation of, I've been shooting for over 10 years, 12 years. There's a lot of things that come a little bit more second nature by now, but that's only because I shoot all the time. And I have this routine of like, if I'm not shooting, I'm not happy. So I'm going to be as busy as I need to be. If I'm not getting the jobs in, I'm going to shoot on my own time for no money, or maybe spend some money on my own time in order to be as busy as I want to be, so that I can constantly be creating and I can constantly be thinking about photography and creating new things and trying to get better at this craft. But it's not about these little individual techniques. It's about a routine of, all right, well, it's Tuesday, it's 9 a.m. I got quote unquote nothing to do. I'm going to go to the studio, I'm going to shoot. And that's part of this creative routine of always putting that work in. And yeah, that work can be towards not working, towards skateboarding, towards whatever it is that you like to do on your free time, or it can be on work. But what I'm saying is that you want to schedule it. You want to put it in this, maybe not rigid structure, but at the very least, you want to have a little bit of a methodical approach at your photography. You want to be able to schedule that creative time in, because as photographers, oftentimes, it's not about being creative when we feel like being creative. If I'm going on set on Thursday at 3 p.m. and they ask me something fresh, I have to be creative right there, right then. So working that creative muscle constantly and being in this routine of working and taking time off and working, having this ability to switch on your creativity is a muscle that we work at, that we get better at, that we grow stronger. And that only happens by doing it constantly and doing it in a methodical approach. I don't even know if that's how you say that word. Let me just actually, methodological. Methodological? Wait, what? Relating to a system of methods used in a particular area of study or activity. Look, guys, I'm ESL. English not my first language. Methodological.
Methodological.
Yeah, that one. Having a routine, having structure in your creativity is going to bring balance in your life, and it's going to bring balance in your photography, your skill. You're just going to progress so much, and you'll notice it not in a week, not in a month. You'll notice it when you look back at your stuff from 6 months ago, from a year ago, from 2 years ago. When you put yourself in this, okay, now I'm going to treat this like maybe not a job, but I'm going to treat this seriously. I'm going to treat this like I'm not going to go take pretty pictures whenever I feel like it. I'm going to schedule myself that next Thursday I have some time in between my 2 jobs, and I love photography so much that I'm going to take that time to try to force myself to be creative in that moment. And that's what I'm going to do. And it's not about, oh, I got some free time, what should I do? Let's go shoot, might as well. You can do that as well. But one of the things that's really important too is just being able to be creative when you don't feel like being creative, and putting yourself on the spot, because it's going to build that muscle. It's going to build that it's going to make those wheels turn in your brain. Oftentimes, I know we hear this a lot, but 80% is better than perfect. It's something that is very useful as photographers and as creators, because we're going to keep zooming in and we're going to keep hyper focusing on all these tiny little nitty gritty details, and you'll never get to the next photo. At least that's what it's like for me. And I'm sure I'm not the only one here, but it's detrimental to what we want to achieve as photographers. You need to be able to just finish something-ish, put it out there, move on to the next one. The reason I have so many pictures, the reason I have such a large body of work, and the reason I can throw, 10 different behind the scenes in between each one of these videos is because I'm constantly shooting. I'm always doing things, whether I'm busy, whether it is from work, or whether I'm self-busy, like whether I'm scheduling things for myself. But I'm always shooting, and I always have this ability to, do something and try to get better at this craft. I'm not always going to have great shots. I'm not always going to take great shots. I miss many shots. I miss a lot of ideas. I think of something, I create something, I set it all up, I go buy things, and then I shoot it and I hate it and it never sees the light of day. But the next time I go shoot, I'm going to learn from those mistakes. I'm going to learn from the things I didn't like and hopefully apply it to the next one and the next one and the next one. But having this routine of constantly doing it, having this structure of like, all right, it's Wednesday, it's 9 a.m., I got nothing else to do. I'm going to go shoot. I'm going to go to the studio. I'm going to go edit. I'm going to, whatever it is, but I'm going to I'm not just going to do it when I feel like doing it. It's a 9-to-5 job for me, and I understand that that's maybe a little bit more privileged than the majority of us as photographers, but putting that work in and making sure that I spend my time appropriately as a photographer is what allows me to get more jobs and to allows me to book more people in the future because of the back-end work that I'm doing now. If you want to work and you want to be busy next year, you have to do the work now. If you want to be busy next month, you have to do the work last year. So I think in order to be consistent and to be a great photographer who's fully booked and always has money coming in and jobs coming in, you want to have a structured mindset. You want to have a routine in your creativity, and you want to be able to approach this job as seriously as you might be thinking about it in your head. I know it's fun. There's no rules, there's no structure, there's no like you can do whatever you want. You're a photographer, there's no boss, there's no whatever. But even if you don't have a boss, if this is the job that you want to have, all of the multiple departments in a regular job, you still have to do. You still have to take care of the marketing, the advertising, as well as the actual skill of taking the pictures. You have to do all of your taxes. You have to do your budgeting for your future shoot. And there's so much to do. And it's not about just, I'm self-employed. I can do whatever I want. Oh, every day's a Friday. Let's just hang out and do nothing, and I'll figure it out tomorrow. It doesn't matter. Work really hard. Play really hard. Enjoy your life. Find the balance. Enjoy the routine, and find structure in this photography that's really going to help you build a long career in this job. If you are able to dedicate this to photography and dedicate this to this career that is creating and taking pretty pictures for nice people, skill is natural talent plus time and obsession. If you don't have the natural talent, you have the time and obsession, and you can make do to have a great photography career. And if you have the natural talent, you still need some time and obsession in order to be as good as everyone else and to be at a level in order to charge and get better at photography. Being a photographer today is so much more than just being able to expose an image. And being a creative agency, so to speak, is what we're really doing. You have to be able to create at a consistent level. You have to be able to troubleshoot because you're always going to be faced with different elements and different things in your different shoots. And that only comes from this routine that you've done for yourself and this ability to constantly be creating, constantly be pushing yourself in these different situations, which allows you to be much more prepared when you come to another set with another client. That's what's going to allow you to impress them, impress their friends, get booked again, and keep moving forward. In order to get better at photography, I do think you still need to get better at your own life and at your own personality and who you are as a person. 9 out of 10 jobs I've ever booked have been because of, oh, you're the closest photographer to us as we know it. You're the person I'm thinking about who also happens to take pictures. Sure, you have to be a great photographer, but that's almost secondary. It is secondary. Number one is your network. Number one is the jobs going to the people that are closest to them. Be closest to the business owners. Be closest to the tourism boards. Be closest to all those agencies in your neighborhood that have jobs to give and that have jobs that need photographers. And you're going to be a great photographer if you can get in their network. If you can be with them, or if you can be who they think of when you need a photo, you might be the one that's hired. If you're hired, then you're going to get hired again, and you're going to get hired again and again and again, which means you're going to get better and you're going to build a bigger portfolio. You can look back at this 2, 3, 4, 5 years of individual shoots that you might have not have liked in the moment, or you might not have been, you're you're a hired hand for these different companies and you're just treating every day as like, whatever. Maybe you're a school photographer. Maybe you take pictures of kids and it's not something you genuinely enjoy. But when you look back at your pictures from 3 or 4 or 5 years ago, you can be like, man, I'm a lot better than I used to be. And I'm only getting better like 0.01% per shoot. But if you take all of those bookings, whether you like them or not, and you apply yourself 1,000% and you do everything you can to get better and try to maximize that shoot, the next one's going to be better. And the only way that you can do that is by being comfortable in who you are and being happy in your personality and being happy in who you are, so that you can actually go to work, even if it's something that you don't absolutely enjoy the most all the time, but you can go to that job and crush it and give it everything because you're not depressed. You're not sad about XYZ. You just went skateboarding yesterday and you just did a concert with your best friend the night before, and you're enjoying this life that photography has built for you, so that you can go and attack the photography with all of your willpower, all of your desire. Find balance, find structure, enjoy your life. You'll be a better photographer. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in a couple days. Later.